Well, I think we might be 30 seconds ahead of time, but I think we'll get started anyway because we have a great group here. Thanks for coming. Today we're taking some time to look back at the history of Prince of Peace and then think about moving forward. This is partly what the work of the transition team is also. And the transition team is meeting for the first time this week on Tuesday night. So I thought about different ways of looking back at the history. There's a lot of years, a lot of decades. So did that move by itself?
I think I might have my mistake, but I think
there are ghosts in the building. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can stay here. That's all right. So I thought about different ways to devise what we are looking at here. Most of the first part of this will be looking at the screen, so you can kind of position yourself forward. But then we're in groups, so we'll do a little bit of discussion also, both in the small groups and in the larger group. And that's part of what the transition team will be doing also. They're going to be gathering information from the congregation and facilitating conversations. So I thought about doing charts and graphs about the history of the Prince of Peace. Exciting, something very exciting, charts and graphs. And then I realized that the numbers are pretty skewed to the first 40 years of existence. And I thought that might be a little daunting to look at those numbers. So I decided a more fun way to do this would be to do a quiz, a multi-choice quiz. So you all have a shot at it. But some of you who have been here at least 50 years probably have a better shot at most of these answers. We'll see. You might still be surprised. So this is the first slide, obviously, just a pictorial view of the first sanctuary. And if you think about the sanctuary now, it faced where the choir loft is and where the organ pipes are. That was the front of the church. So you entered from the south side. And then in 1971, there was a major remodel where everything was moved 90 degrees. And the church now was facing the west side. And you can see there, you may be able to pick that out, that the church had pews and it had a raised altar area. By the way, here, as was typical in a lot of churches, the altar was on the back wall. But later, the church has moved, the table was moved out, and now we have a table that's sort of movable. It could be right in the center of the room if we wanted it to be. And then later on, of course, the pews there's a few more chairs up in front. There's a whole group that can be up here. The chairs were added, the pews were taken out, the chairs were added. The baptismal waters wall, maybe you didn't know that was what that is, but it's a baptismal waters wall. Art was added. So a little bit more flexible space. Okay, now on to the quiz. Gotta remember to do this first. Here we go. We'll start out easy. In what year did Prince of Peace hold its first worship service? In other words, after it was incorporated. The first service was at Alexander Ramsey High School. What year was that? Now, don't blurt it out. Just look at the answers. Think about what you want to answer. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands now. I'll maybe ask you. I'll have you raise your hand if you got it right. The survey says 1957. How many of you knew that? Bob, when were you married?
1957.
Oh, okay. Oh, I knew you knew something. two weren't married at Prince of Peace.
But they weren't here.
They weren't here. We were talking about that before, that's all. Okay, next question. When was the first church building dedicated? With those answers, they are 58, 59, 60, or 61. I heard somebody cheating and telling the answer. So what do you think it was? 58, which is kind of remarkable when you think about the fact that the first congregation or the congregation began in 57, and there were about 200 people connected with that initial church. And already by 58, that first church sanctuary that we saw was built. So moving fast, actually. What did the first Prince of Peace building cost? Think about it for a second. 52,000, 86,000, 122,000, 150,000. The answer. 52,000. Wow, it's kind of crazy, isn't it, to think about that? That first sanctuary and building. I imagine there were some offices in that building too. But there wasn't an education wing yet. Okay, let's move on. There we go. A new education wing was dedicated in 1961 at the cost also of about $50,000. How many children were registered for Sunday school that year? 97, 81, 181, 248, or 350? 248. Just moving my slides ahead on my screen here just a little bit. Yeah, think about that. That was the first Sunday school unit, but I can't imagine that the Sunday school unit grade housed 248 kids. So some of the classes were held where? You know,
Old building.
No.
Owasso.
Lake Owasso Elementary. We still have more about this coming. Oh, sorry. No. Okay. In what year did the Sunday school have its highest Sunday school enrollment? 65, 68, 71, or 74? Sorry, I'm just catching up with my computer here. It's not a problem. Okay. 1968 was the highest recorded. I want to say something about how I got these figures. I didn't have days to research, so I limited myself to annual reports and annual business meetings minutes. I didn't try to go back into some other enrollment types of things, but there was always a good education report in every year. In fact, the education report was always the most clear of all of them. And I'll talk a little bit more about there was a gap of statistics at one point, actually. So 1968. So obviously the next question was, there were 3 sessions of Sunday school held each Sunday. And I understand that there were almost 60 teachers or volunteers this time. Volunteer teachers and aides, I mean. Okay, so what was the Sunday school enrollment in 1968? This was the highest enrollment ever.
Must be D.
People pick up.
You guys are so good. I hit the button too soon.
Yep.
Not for us.
That, I mean, that is amazing. Does anybody know what the baptized membership of the congregation is today?
Less than.
It's about four more, or four. No, it's about almost equal to that. You think about that. What kinds of problems? What, I mean, what a great problem to have, 454 kids in Sunday school. That's age 3 up through high school. But think about that, equivalent to the number of members we have right now. But that, it also means what for the congregation?
We're getting a little older.
Well, yes, of course, we're getting, so some of the Sunday school kids that were there are us, or maybe a little bit younger than us, I'd say. But one of the things that comes to mind for me is that what an administrative challenge that would have been to get 60 Sunday school teachers and all of that going, and all the work that would have to come from that. It also made me reflect on the thought that 454 Sunday schoolers then, where are they today? Where are those Sunday schoolers today in the church? Now, some of them are us, because some of you would have been in these about this age at that time. I was slightly no, I would have still been in high school, so I would have been in this group as well. And maybe, you know, those baby boomers have continued to be kind of the core of the church going forward. So maybe that's part of the answer. And all the baby boomers are not still with us, of course. Okay, moving on. Couple more questions. What year saw the highest number of youth confirmed? 68, 72, 73, 76. Highest number of Sunday school was 68, so what would you think?
73.
It's 73, yeah. So, and anybody want to guess the number?
About 35.
41.
Very close, 39. Good. What was the highest Prince of Peace membership total recorded, and what year was it? This one is very surprising to me, and I'll let you think about this a little bit more as I try to get my screen to catch up here. Here's the number, but now remember, I'm just reporting what was on paper in a report. 1,256 in 2003. This was very surprising to me. In fact, I question it. But keep in mind that for many years, yes.
I think it was somewhere around that time when we called the rolls, when there were a lot of people on the rolls, and a lot of churches at that time took.
Were you reading my
inactive
notes?
numbers. No.
She was here.
Yes, that's a great point, and we'll look, and when we look at the next slide, we'll see some difference there. But anyway, I just wanted to say that when I looked at the reports, Pastor Bragg said was an extreme stickler for numbers. Every one of his reports, you know, from the beginning of the church on, you could always see how many new members, how many baptized, et cetera, et cetera. He was just a stickler for it. He died in 75, I believe. And his successors for the next 10 years must have decided we're not going to talk about numbers because there was hardly anything about membership numbers or weekly attendance or anything for the next 10 years or so in the reports. They were just gone, missing. I'm not criticizing that. I'm just, and they might have said, well, numbers are not what membership means. That's not whole ball game, so we're not gonna look at numbers so much. And maybe they didn't have to worry about numbers too much at that time either, because it was still pretty solid. But anyway, this number really, really surprised me. 1,256 members in 2003. Okay, let's look at the next slide though. Next question. What was the reported baptized membership in 2005? This is 2 years later, remember? 2 years later.
The other one was baptized members also.
Yes, the other one is baptized member. The membership things I'm talking about are all baptized members. So the largest number you could have theoretically. $705. 550 people change in membership in that year. Now, some of it was new software to cull, that is, take people off the roll if they weren't involved, if they probably hadn't given for 10 years or something like that. I don't know what but there were notes in the annual meeting that about a new software and culling the roll. So that would count for a large number. But something else happened in 2004. Does anybody know what initiative was going on at that time?
Homosexuality, church policy.
There probably was the beginning of discussions about sexuality in the church. That was not the one I was thinking of.
Well, isn't that when they were talking about maybe building a new sanctuary because we had the 3 services going, the gym and the 2. So we had 3 services going on, and so there was a talk about the sanctuary, but we got in the argument about the slanted floor and whether all this money in it.
I'll just repeat what Carol's saying, and it's true. The actual initiative was called Building a Spiritual House in 2004. Maybe it started in 3, but 2004 is when the discussions and the votes took place. And one of the discussions was whether to, architecturally to raise the back of the church. And apparently, I was not here. There were a lot of, we'll just say, heated discussions about that. And the congregation was not in agreement about the way to go forward. And I would guess that the congregation lost some people over that. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
So sometimes things like that happen in congregational life. And that's what happens. This is, I think, there's just 2 quick questions. What was the year, and what year was the vision statement claimed, gathered, and sent adopted? Only 2010. I thought it was earlier than that, but that was.
Jennifer wrote it.
Who was the pastor then? I thought it was.
That would have been
I thought it
Anita
was
and.
Flip who was the pastor, who did that?
Well, according to the notes, what I found,
Maybe it was
this
for
was.
Greece.
No, it would have been Anita.
There was a similar one that was done when.
It might have been
It
might have
wasn't
just been
big change.
an update or something. Yes.
Yeah, there were 2 statements that were formed within a year or 2 of each other, both written by Janet Brer and Barry. And then we shortened it, claimed, gathered, sent, I think a year after the first version, which was a longer vision statement.
Okay. Yeah, I did see the longer one and it was about the same time.
Yeah.
So what year was the vision statement expanded to claim, gathered, sent to build the church and love the world, which is our current? It was 17, because that's the first year that Pastor Peter was lead pastor. Okay, one last, oh, I keep saying one last, I forgot how many I had here. What year did Prince of Peace record its highest average weekly worship attendance? And keep in mind, again, there were those 10 years where I didn't see anything. So 98 was the highest weekly attendance, and the number was 391. So you think about baptized membership at the time was moving toward that 1,254 number. Was it really? You know, you don't know. But it was about 1,100 at this time. So the average weekly attendance, 391 and 1,100 membership, that seems low to me. It seems like a low percentage. We would have a higher percentage of people worshiping now based on our membership than we did then. Now, this is the last slide. This one was interesting to me. The baptized membership of Prince of Peace from 2017 to last year, we haven't recorded this year yet, has been remarkably stable. Or if you're a glass half empty person, remarkably flat. And this includes the COVID period. So you see just a small dip from 455 down to 444, 447, 446 during the COVID time. And it's ticked up slightly in 2024. So that means that the number of new people joining is roughly equivalent, or being baptized is roughly equivalent to those who have died or who have moved on to somewhere else. I don't know what to make of this exactly, but it feels more to me like stable. And it probably mirrors what a lot of congregations have been going through. Okay, that's enough of the quiz. I want to spend a little bit of time now talking in your groups, and then we'll do some summarizing in the large group as well. So when you think about these statistics that you just heard, what observations do you have? What takeaways do you have when you think about these numbers? Another question is what questions are raised in your mind about this, if anything? And then finally, this is more of a visceral or emotional response. How do these numbers make you feel? You can talk about any or all of these things. We'll just take about 5 minutes, and then I'll just solicit some responses from the group. Okay. So in your group, when you think about these, what observations do you have? What questions are raised, and how do they make you feel? Anxious? Hopeful? Fearful? Go for it.
Does any,
In your group. Oh, sorry.
any of these counts, internet counts? Over the air counts, people are staying home and.
Oh, there are people watching this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Is any of this?
So these numbers, the earlier, that would have been just the last slide. I think it doesn't include those because we're not talking about worship attendance, we're talking about membership. So I think that would include all people who are online too. So, okay, so take a few minutes to discuss, and then I'll just get some brave people to respond with the group.
Very good.
This was been nice to wine read.
You're operating. The way.
That's a lot. Right.
I know sometimes the handbell is here, and that's what you. When the handbell is here. But sometimes I have to walk to us. Or that's why, and still, one's down like. Well, and you get a lot of like my arts.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the thing. I heard about it. And I have to bring college, like a 7-year-old basketball master, one way that to the last, never mind. One of the, this text I use as
Well, that's right.
Yeah, they had, but it doesn't, I called it, but they had, or. Even the mass. They had one of the, like a guitar.
Yeah.
Those are there's a single that I had. You know, they're out on Sundays. And that's good. Go around these places or but I mean, they're.
You're good at hockey, your family, take your eye on it, you know. Maybe send somebody. Really added up to get down.
Yeah, the lakes.
Well, as usual, I hate to break in, but I'm going to do that. Do we have any brave souls who want to just say something about any of these questions? It doesn't matter which you pick, but any surprise, anything you want to provide for the whole group? Jean?
Something I've been thinking about for a while is membership. I think it's really it doesn't have the tone of commitment that a lot of our age people had years ago. You get your name down, then that commits you. Financially, involvement, etc. Today, I get the feel that people come to worship, want to worship and be filled, but they have a different feel about commitment. Does that commit me to being there every Sunday? You know, I'm not saying good or bad.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking of people I know.
Jean's talking about membership and what does it mean to be a member?
And the numbers that came in a
And-
while ago,
yeah.
you were mentioning.
Right. Yeah.
Also I kind of remember, Gary, you have to correct me, but didn't the congregations keep the rolls and then have to? That would be how much they would commit to financially, the synods,
That's,
per members?
that's, old ALC.
Oh, okay.
We did that, we have to pay so much to the Senate per confirmed member.
Confirmed member,
Yeah.
right. So why not just say you only had 2 confirmed members?
That's
No.
I think what Rick mentioned in passing earlier was that the demographics mean that the, population's aging out. So we have, pretty high numbers now, but in 20 to 30 years, that's gonna be quite different.
Aren't you all gonna be here in 30 years?
Where do you have to be? We'd have to have our mortgage paid off. I don't think that's secure.
What are the qualifications for being a member of Prince of Peace?
Join-
Our daughter, who lives in Ames, Iowa, gets all the emails and she's on the membership list. And Miriam,
Is she on the membership list?
yeah,
Oh, really?
and Miriam next door to me here is here all the time, but she's not a member.
Well, we gotta fix that. Right? Well, yeah, a lot could be said about membership and who's a member, who isn't a member. And the way you count that, that's true.
It's been 2 years or so since we've had a members join officially.
I think there's been members joining every year.
We
There's
haven't
been a
had
few.
any Service, I'm recognizing.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
They have joined during the worship service. Yes, you wanna speak loudly?
Once you're a member, are you a member until you let the church know you're not? Because I have 3 children all raised here and confirmed here, but none of them come to church unless, I ask them or it's Christmas or something, but they're still counted as members,
Sure.
I would
I
imagine.
imagine they're counted as members. There may be a point where they won't be if they are not here or if they're not contributing. I honestly don't know what the criteria is. Steve?
I'm not positive on the Prince of Peace Constitution. But prior churches that I've been part of said that membership is based on attending at least once a year and or donating. So the only way to track it is through attendance or the giving statements. And it's a very, very delicate situation to try to, as was mentioned, cull the rolls. How do you really, manage that? And follow up on that.
And Deb, you have,
Yeah, in Prince of Peace, yes, Steve, you're right, those are the 2 qualifications. However, we don't use sign-in sheets at church. We don't, so, it's much more, giving is really easy to track. And if somebody has given to us and on a regular basis, even if they haven't formally said, yay, I'm yours, they can be counted. But, in terms of seeing and attending, it's harder to gauge. We do generally call once every 2 years to 3 years. And we just go through and say, you know, have you seen so-and-so? Have you seen so-and-so? If somebody reaches out. When we did the massive cull, back then, I think we removed 350 members, of which 75 were dead. And yeah, I mean, you know, rough numbers. So we learned that we kind of have to keep those statistics alive. And so that is part of our process.
Just a couple of things real briefly. One, even more specifically, constitutionally, membership is financial contribution on record during the current or previous year. And having come to Holy Communion.
Yeah.
The current or previous year, not attendance, but Holy Communion. Both of which are, you know, especially the latter, are difficult to keep track of, and almost no one does. The other thing that I want to briefly say is membership these days is talked about less with churches than participation. Which is why worship attendance is much more important than membership rolls. The other thing that I would mention, we talk about level of commitment. Many of you are the generation before me. And for my generation and those of you who are older, by and large, people committed to institutions. In the generations that are younger than mine, people commit to causes. So there's a it's not that people are less committed, it's that they commit differently. They don't commit to an institution, they commit to a cause. And it doesn't matter what institution is doing the cause that they commit to. So that's part of the disconnect that I think we're experiencing now, as opposed to maybe 15 years ago.
Right.
And Jean, you had.
No, and I maybe got people off on the wrong track talking about members and numbers, but it bothers me. Yeah, no. But I just I appreciate that cause and commitment, but how are we? What does worship mean to me that I can share with others, and no matter who they are? That's what bothers me, is, or I think about.
Keep that in mind. It's up here. It's coming. Steve.
In prior congregations where I was a little more aware of numbers, one of the things I noticed was that attendance had tended to go down, but number of people communing during the course of the year went up. And what that indicated likely was people were less consistent in their attendance. That people locked in and were there every Sunday. You remember the people who sat near the front with a bunch of kids in a row, and they were there every Sunday. And nowadays, people are more mobile. Grandparents who may have been regular attendees now go away to visit their grandkids. And people just, and families aren't as large. So you have those kind of factors.
We're gonna move on. And I'm glad that Steve and you talked about membership versus causes. This next question is really about causes in one sense. Prince of Peace has experienced or created several important initiatives through the years. For example, building the gymnasium. What would we do when we have dinners without that? The lower classrooms, the columbarium, the sacred settlement is an obvious initiative, recent. as you recall, you think about the past, whether you've been here 50 years or 1 year, what other important initiatives or events has Prince of Peace committed to? So this is not about membership, this is about what we do, and I'm just gonna, you can call them out, I'm gonna just write some down.
Youth conventions.
Reconciling in Christ.
I'll just give it the reconciling in Christ.
That'd be an I then.
Oh, sorry, in.
I don't spell very well.
And reconciling and Christ. Christ, sorry.
It's rare I get a chance to correct it.
Thank you. Correct away.
Every meal initiative at the elementary school.
Every meal
Yeah,
at Central Park,
yeah.
Meals on
Global
Wheels.
Ministries,
meals. Meals. Yeah, global ministries, yes, but specifically.
Tanzania.
Arena Diocese, Arboma Lagoma.
Yeah.
Relationships.
Sacred settlements.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Keystone.
Keystone, what about Keystone? Just supporting it, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, supporting Keystone Food Shelf.
Groceries. Donations.
Anything else come to mind? Chris?
Habitat.
Thank you. Anything else?
All the tech we have in.
Okay, new technology. I still think about the Sunday school Christmas program that was done during COVID. That couldn't have been done without technology. It was the greatest. The angels out in the field.
The solar panels.
Solar panels, yeah. Anything else?
Just creativity during COVID, and I know a lot
Okay.
of churches went through that, but what?
A little bit creativity. We'll just take a few more. Corinne Gardens. Corinne.
Karen. No, Ian.
Ian, yeah. Sorry, I couldn't remember that. Okay. Corinne Gardens, Karen Gardens. One more? Anything else? So when I think about,
Well, for a
Yes.
while, I don't know what's happening now, but just having the parking lot available through the fleet, in cooperation with police for temporary. Most people who have a vehicle, the safe parking lot.
yeah, safe parking lot.
Hispanic church.
Oh.
The spooky music.
Spooky music, sure. That makes sense. There's a lot of visitors show up to that.
Some of that stuff that goes on in the day time here, other people using
ECFE.
But there's a few things, I think. Boy Scouts,
Homeschool.
Music
Homeschooling.
lessons.
Yeah.
Bridge club.
Some of these are more recent, right?
we had the daycare,
Is a process group.
Process group, yes.
And fireworks.
And
Oh,
what I was saying for
Inviting the community to fireworks.
daycare was
Susan?
big.
After the daycare left, renovating our space so that we are using it differently and renting out the places and using it for sacred settlement.
Yeah. Okay, we better stop. When you see
Adult
this
forums,
list,
I would put on there, adult forums, it isn't a new innovation, it's been around at least since 72.
even farther back than that,
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
there was some very robust adult education programs, sixties and seventies.
You know, Scott, just to further the point though about kind of what's out of sight and out of mind with these is our partnership with the congregation that comes in every Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it there. Okay, sorry, I missed that. But just to highlight the point, the membership there, I think they have something like online attend or following of like 450. Right, so I mean, it's even though they don't have their own building, the membership of that congregation is very close to ours.
Right. I always over plan. So I'm gonna skip ahead a couple of questions. Because we really don't have time. This is Jean's question in one sense. How would you summarize in a word or phrase what Prince of Peace means to you? And how would you then let people know about that? What is the main impact of Prince of Peace outside its doors? We see some of it there. What's your greatest hope for Prince of Peace's future? I didn't ask what's your greatest fear. But here's the question I want us to just take a few minutes on as we think, as we go forward, because I think in some ways this will be part of the work of the transition team also will be to think about this question and to sort of goad you as members to give us some clarity on this as we think about new leadership, pastoral leadership, for instance, as we think about the future and where we want to go. So this question is, what things must the community of Prince of Peace do to ensure or enhance its future? You have kind of a picture of the past, where we've been. You have a pretty good sense of where we are today. But as we go forward, what must the community of Prince of Peace do to ensure or enhance its future? And I think because we are short on time, we'll go ahead and take some responses from the group as you think about it.
I think what we, again, it's my personal opinion, but in the short time since we've been back, every time something comes up, it seems like we worry about what's gonna happen in the future. And I don't think that's the mission of followers of Jesus. I think we should, if it's a good idea, we should go on with it. If God's behind it, it'll succeed. If God isn't, nothing we do is gonna.
So Rick's response is just cool it.
Well, stop worrying about it.
Stop worrying about it.
We don't have to go on forever,
Yeah, it's a good point.
but we should live while we're here.
Kind of along the line with Rick, what do we do to keep in touch with where God is leading us? What practices, possibly, what kinds of things do all of us need to do to figure out the next steps, really?
Well, in terms of like spiritual practices and worship practice, etc., I would say that is doing something.
Huh?
I would say that is doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, intentionally.
I think we should build strong relationships to support each other. We're kind of a church family.
That's something I think has been a strength of the church that I've known since 72, with a long hiatus.
It's one of the reasons I put the word community in there intentionally. And we've been talking about community, and we're gonna talk about that more during the transition.
Scott would never say this, but I think the fact that we have, I don't know, 5 or so retired pastors in this congregation tells me that we must be doing something right, because you guys know what congregations are about, and I don't know why you'd stay here or join if something wasn't happening pretty good around here. What,
My
what's this mean?
wife is director, I have no choice.
Well, that's the only reason I'm here, okay.
That's one of the reasons. A lot of good.
Couple more, well, we have a couple more minutes.
I'll just say that. Just to say again, and you know, we don't lean into the next generation. We're just gonna age out, maybe 15 years.
Yeah, there are a couple younger people here. I'm so impressed that you came to. My grandchildren. Anybody else want to say anything about this? Well, we're gonna be talking about this question quite a bit in the next months as the transition team solicits information.
Have faith.
Have faith. All right. Susan?
Be open to new things, be open to creative ways that the church might be changing.
Be open to new things, be open to new creativity. You know, if we are aging out, what does that mean? How does that creativity happen? Do we look for new creativity?
Scott, one of the things that's not on there, I forgot about, is the columbarium. And we do need to be mentioning the columbarium has many of the niches open. And it has not been mentioned for people who may not know about it or are still not sure about what to do after death, because we need to do something about maintaining it and people making use of the columbarium.
And one of the ways that it's maintained is people buy
Yes,
spots.
yes.
Not that we want you to use those spots or anything.
We do want people to be aware.
We want them to be aware, you're right, yeah, that, yes. Other-
Kind of like, what others have been saying, that the idea of serving the community or local community and not just being concerned about people who are within our membership, but reaching out to the community and support, as ministry. And we're doing a lot of things, and I don't think we're gonna drop any of those, but, the more that we can, be part of the larger community, I think it really helps that, get work done that's important for God and for us and for our community, but also just lets people know that we're here and we're a choice.
And it's not just about membership, it's about actually doing
Scott,
stuff.
can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
One more thing that is important about the columbarium, if anybody has concern about the future, there has been a contract made with Roselawn Cemetery so that if ever something happened to Prince of Peace and it was no longer here, it would be moved so that it wouldn't be destroyed.
Thank you for mentioning it. That is a question I had. I didn't know what
Yeah.
that was.
It has been legally done.
Would you like to?
I am not going to be, leading the transition team or telling it what to do. However, my encouragement would be, as we talk about community, the first step is to define community. And our instinct would be to ask the question, how do we define community? I think we need to change that to how is community defined for us? Which is very different. When we go to scripture, especially, as Jesus understood his community, how does Jesus define community for us? He certainly defines how we care for and embrace each other. He certainly defines how we open up our understanding of and make a commitment to the community that we wouldn't instinctively say is part of our quote family. You know, I mean, the story of the Good Samaritan and things like that. So this community thing is really exceedingly important, and we don't naturally ask the question, how does Jesus define something? We do quite often default to thinking about what we want, what we need, what we've experienced. So part of this process that the transition team will lead with the congregation will feel awkward, will feel difficult. Because our tendency is to talk about what we want, you know, what we're used to, what we need, rather than what we're called to be and to do. So that's my thing.
I think we're probably at the end, unless somebody has one more perfect comment or. Guess who?
I think Jesus did define who's included. Children of God are included, which means everybody. So as long as we adhere to that, we'll probably be okay.
That's a good one to end on. So thank you. More to come.